In terms of absenteeism, can you go into maybe a little bit more information of how this solution has directly impacted your absenteeism as a workforce, without giving away too much of your IP, of course?
No, that's fine. I think you know, there's the actual outcome of the simplest thing being just, you know, being able to measure something, and then as a result of measuring it, everyone's looking at it, so you're paying attention to it, which is like kind of well documented as a concept. You know, in some respects, it goes back to the absolute 101, which is, and this is a journey that Adam had a fair bit of involvement with, and can be a frustrating part of rolling something like this out. But you sit down as a business and you say, okay, we're going to track attendance or absenteeism, whichever way you look at it. And the first thing that happens is that the floor managers only care about how many people had a pair of gumboots on standing on a chain. The HR department really just wants to know who was supposed to be here that didn't show up, and the finance department wants to know who they're paying for. And so you have this thing where you go, well, what is it? What's attendance? What's absenteeism? What's the cost of it? What are the different categories that it sits into? And the simple discipline of having to say we need to define this and we need to create a formula that calculates it gives you the ability to actually sort of unpack the challenge in your business more directly. So you have to sit down and say, well, are we going to count, you know, long-term workers' compensation? Are we going to count someone that's on maternity leave? Are we, you know, how are we going to count the cost of these different elements of our business? What are we going to do when someone's sick on Monday, but then, which is unplanned, but then we know that they're not going to be here for the rest of the week? And how does the impact on direct costs versus the impact on management around absenteeism, discipline if it's required, or conversations that need to happen, all of those things sort of typically get pushed into a too hard basket or poorly defined, or you know, like they're very challenging things to manage. Whereas if you can get the kind of data set that tells you, gives you insights into the frequency and allows you to, I guess, find out if it's always a Monday for an individual or all that sort of stuff. In some parts, that's something that I guess some time and attendance or payroll systems can do. But then for us, we can also look, you know, if you picture those spark lines in the demo that Adam showed, for us, we would look back on a day and we'd say, wow, we had a huge spike in absenteeism that day. And then we can look at the labour cost per unit and we can say, that's interesting, it didn't really impact on our productivity on that day. Or when it gets over a certain point, then it actually slows you down incredibly. Because one of the other challenges you have as a business is that sometimes if you have a higher than expected rate of absenteeism, your business actually appears to be performing particularly well. Because if you're able to knock out the same production with less people, at first sort of blush, you might look at it and say, well, we don't need those people. we're still executing daily. But what you find is that you're not training and other things are slipping. If you're on demand, you might have challenges around quality, or you might find that, and the other interesting thing for us is that we would then look at co-product recovery. And my apologies for people that aren't in the industry, but two of the things that we collect are sheep tongues and ears. And those are two of the things that we stop collecting when we don't have enough resources to collect them. So the ability to be able to look at something and say, well, our labour cost per unit was really good those days because we had 5 casuals that were away and we didn't pay wages for them. But then to be able to quickly say, but we didn't recover ears or tongues, which means that created a revenue shortfall. Like they're the insights around, I guess, absenteeism and its impact on the business. And the ability to have those conversations as part of the normal suite of conversations that you're having with managers, as we sort of talked about before, in real time, to say this is what happens when, you know, even this is what happens when you've got 2 more people on annual leave than we all agreed you would. And then you have an absenteeism event or a sick leave event that then compounds that issue. And so those, that's kind of, I hope that provides a bit more detail on what the absenteeism piece looks like.
Yeah, I think it definitely did. I think you also kind of hit the nail on the head as well around like other internal metrics and kind of KPIs as well. And another question that has come out is, once the solution was implemented, like how long did it take for you to see a positive impact on the KPIs that you've set with it, that you had already set within the business?
I think that's really tricky, because we were on a journey of improvement in terms of, and we needed a system that could move with us at the same pace we were moving.
Yeah,
I would say instantly, but there are a lot of things that are feeding into that. What I would say is that we couldn't do without the system. Now we would step back very quickly. I imagine there's a large part of our business, our daily focus, that relies on this information to tell us how we're tracking, whether we need to adjust, whether we're on the right track. So for us, I mean, it's been I would say instantly, on account of the fact that people knew exactly what was happening, and they started to be empowered to make decisions that maybe previously they had to ask a commercial manager or a finance manager or somebody for an insight that took 10 days to get, and then they would make a decision to change something. Now they just do it straight away because they know the answers, they can see the impact. So that behaviour started straight away for us as a business, because there was an absence of it prior to it. So that became sort of quite a quick thing.
I think that's the thing. Like, it's the behaviours, I guess, are the things that you see the instant changing rather than the KPI metrics. It's having that access to the data which influences their behaviour.